Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this video postmortem, chess video postmortem. It's analysis of my recent chess blitz game number 21, where I was white and my opponent played the center counter. So let's take a look at it. And I've got the engine running. I set it to a lower priority. I noticed it was interfering with some of the audio. I was getting some clipping and stuff, so hopefully that'll solve that problem. Although it does make it a little tricky to go back and forth between the opening book. So what I will do is I'll just talk through the opening book. I looked at this earlier. So this is, I play e4, my opponent played d5, and I take. And this is pretty normal. Knight f6 and d4 is one of the principal replies. So he takes a pawn, and I go knight f3. And the move I was expecting here is bishop g5, but it turns out this other move, g6, is quite popular as well. And the move I replied with, bishop e2, is okay. But if I want to play c4, this is a good time to play it. Kick that knight right away before black has gotten any pressure on this center pawn. But I didn't do that. I played bishop e2, which is more common in the other line. When the bishop comes out to g5, you want to break that pin. He plays here, and I play h3, which is not a book move at all. I can play c3 or c4 here. But this takes us out of the opening book, and you can see the evaluation from the point of view of the computer is still the normal opening advantage for white. So even though this is not the most accurate move, it's not a losing move. But the losing move actually comes pretty shortly. I make a big mistake in the opening here. Knight c6, bishop e3. Yeah, so this is the first step in my downfall. I think c3, c4 would be reasonable moves here. Either defending the pawn or kicking the knight. I was thinking I needed to defend this pawn before kicking the knight, and so I tried to defend it with bishop e3. But it's just not a great square for the bishop. He can take advantage of that by exchanging off the bishop right away and then playing e5 and just hitting back in the center immediately. And it looks like black gets a good game. So somehow during the game I was thinking when he took and I took back, it was strengthening my center. I didn't realize how easy it would be to undermine. So he plays e5. So looks like he's got the right idea here. And I follow up with c4, which is my original thought. And this has made a bad situation worse. So now this pawn is actually under-defended. It's just a simple counting mistake. Well, it's not that simple. But let's look at all the attackers and the defenders. There's defending it, we have the queen, the bishop, and the knight. So the three defenders. And how many attackers? We have the pawn, we have the knight. After the pawn takes, the bishop is defending. So we have three attackers, three defenders. It seems to be in balance, but of course the queen is a potential attacker. So he's got four attackers counting the queen, and when he takes my bishop, I come back with the pawn. My defenders, the number of defenders stays the same, and he has all four attackers working. So let's see how this goes. He takes my bishop, I take back with a pawn. Now I count again. Knight, pawn, queen, that's three defenders. And how many attackers? It's knight, pawn, bishop, and queen. So he was able to just move that knight with a tempo, and I kept my number of defenders the same by taking back with the bishop, but when he moved that knight off, he was introducing an additional attacker. So black is just up a pawn here, and he does go on to win the game. I tried to fight back, and the way I chose to fight back was not working for me. In addition to winning a pawn in the center, he's also opened up this diagonal here. So the right way to defend here is to leave the knight there and play knight c3. I guess I didn't want him to take my bishop. I thought this would become a useful piece later. But when I exchange here, I get to keep my bishop, but I lose. I'm going to lose at least the exchange. I'm going to lose this pawn, and then my rook has nowhere to go. And also he gets to exchange queens. So the queens come off. This move queen takes was with check, by the way, so I have to move my king or exchange. So I chose to move the king. He takes, and then he grabs the pawn and the exchange. So the exchange meaning he got the bishop. He got my rook for his bishop. So I have one rook and two minor pieces, and he's got two rooks and a bishop, and he also has one pawn more than I do. So strong advantage for black here, and it's a little bit tricky to fight back, but I decided to play on and just see how it goes. Just developing my pieces and attacking things. I'm trying to get a pin on this pawn here. He goes with c6 to blunt my bishop, and then I start trying to undermine these pawns by pushing my pawns. These two isolated pawns are weak, and it's in my best interest to exchange them off for some of black's pawns here and maybe create a weakness in his pawn structure. So he tries to stop that with the a5 move, and then I get to push on with c5. So that does create kind of a weakness. It creates a backwards pawn here, which I can now go after with my knight. And you'll see throughout this that black is maintaining his advantage, but I am slowly creeping up. And here, right, here's an actual mistake where I get to pick up a pawn. Because when he moves his rook in to defend that pawn, let's see how I should have played that. He should have played rook a7, it says here, or rook to d8. Rook to d8 is an interesting idea, just kind of letting the pawn go. But it says after rook d8 I would move my king to h2, so maybe there's a back rank problem. Anyway, when he plays rook to b8, that creates a pin here. So this pawn on c6 is effectively not defended, and I can take it, and I do. So I've creeped up a little bit, but he counterstrikes. This is a nice move. He takes here, he takes my h-pawn. The rooks are defending each other now, so this pawn is no longer pinned, and so my bishop is hanging and his bishop is hanging. So he's created a nice tactical situation where he gets his pawn back and leaves a couple pieces hanging. But I can go ahead and take a pawn here, so I do. And now he needs to retreat his bishop, so he goes to, he went back to c8. And now that wasn't the best square for the bishop. He could have gone back to d7. Yeah, if he goes back to d7, that's attacking my pawn. So this just encourages me to play the move c6. And if you look at the computer evaluation, it looks like I've managed to get myself almost back in the game. The advantage that black had earlier has shrunk to where it's just a single pawn, which is the kind of advantage that sometimes ends in a draw. So I'm playing on here, and it may get half a point. But he exchanges out, I take, and then he attacks my knight. And turns out that there's only one good knight move. I tried knight c4, and I get chased around and lose my advantage. So the knight has to go to e4. This is the sort of thing that's really hard to see. Because wherever the knight goes, it can get harassed by the rook. So you have to kind of figure out where is the knight going to be most useful. I thought knight on c4 was useful because it's hitting this pawn. But yeah, as it looks deeper, as the computer looks deeper, the evaluation on knight c4 goes down and down. So let's take a look at knight e4, see if I could have held the game this way. Knight e4, rook to d4. That's logical. Attack the rook, attack the knight, and attack the pawn. And then I can go to knight c5, defending both pawns. And let's see, he can try rook h4, he can try rook to b4. After rook h4, he goes to b4 anyway. So I guess rook b4 is the main idea. If he just tries to harass the knight again, say he goes back here, just knight a6. That's the point. Yeah, I'm trying to get to a square that defends this, that attacks b8 here and chases the rook away and then queen my pawn. So let's back this up. So knight e4, threat from knight e4 is to come here and then here or here. Okay, So he attacks the knight, I go there. He could just, how about if he plays his rook to this square? Just guarding that square for the knight and that square for the knight. Then I can play rook to b5. Huh. And this looks like it's good for white. Why is this good for white? Rook to c6, king to g7. Let's say he plays king to g7. Do I have a way to make progress? Just rook takes a5. Ah, he can't defend this pawn. That's the problem here. So this is pretty interesting. So the idea with knight e4 is to go to this knight c5 square. And if I get here, even if threatening to come to a6 and chase the knight away, and if he defends against that, then I can attack the pawn on b5. So, pretty tricky situation. I went to knight c4 instead. I was thinking from c4 I could go to this square and then this square. Let me draw that on the board. And from this square I'd be attacking the knight. But I am farther away from the square a6. It's interesting. So he played rook to d5, defending his pawn. And I don't have any way to get, say I was going to use this square as a way to get to this square. And now he's protecting that square and he's also defending his pawn. And so it leaves me without any particularly good moves here. I tried bringing the king in. None of this particularly works. And the advantage stays pretty firmly in black's camp from here on out. He was able to win my pawn by chasing the knight away, and I couldn't defend it anymore. So I try a few more tricks. He had, again, there's a pin operating this way. And when there's a pin, this is just something you got to watch out for all the time in your games. When there's a pin, that means this piece here is actually hanging. It's not defended because the pin prevents that pawn from retaking. So I managed to pick up a pawn here, but it's just not enough. He's still got a strong advantage. I was still playing on though because I had this outside pass pawn. I thought that might be worth something. Might be able to get something out of it. But the game ends right here when I'm chased away from my knight, and then there's just no way for me to get back and defend it. So that was game over, and I thought that was kind of interesting. That's an example of how you can try and struggle on, even after you get a busted opening. But it is difficult, and you do have to play precisely and jump on those chances when they occur. So hope you guys enjoyed that, and if you have any comments, leave them in the section below. See you next time. Thanks. Bye.